I get asked all the time what it was like to be an OF girl. And so I figured, you know what? Why not just do a tell-all? Why not just tell everybody what they are dying to know? Number one question people ask is, was the money good? Yes, the money was actually very good for the first 6 months to a year. The problem in this industry is that you get burnt out very, very quickly because the men look at you like some kind of like endless ATM machine that they can just withdraw from constantly, meanwhile trying to never pay you what you deserve.
Wow, crazy claims. Okay, you're an endless source of pornographic content and they never pay you what you deserve. Sounds like a normal job. Not like normal jobs or pornographic content, but it sounds like being a waitress at a restaurant. Like people expect the most out of you and then some don't even tip that well. What makes you think you deserve people's money? You have breasts and lady parts, and so that means I am worth $100 a picture or whatever. I don't even know how that stuff works. That's not a market where you necessarily determine your value. You are the goods in that market. You are the goods and other people are purchasing your goods. And so if someone says your goods is worth $2 a picture, that is what you're worth. I don't understand. Hey, maybe how supply and demand works is lost on some people. Maybe economics is something that she should have taken a college class or two in before she decided to become a prostitute, because that's a tough lesson, man. You don't get, you'll never get what you deserve. And then secondly, come on, man, it's a commodity. Do you know how many girls there are who do OnlyFans? Secondly, you're an old lady. Yeah, your makeup makes your face look more matte, like makes it look good, but look at your neckline and look at below your neckline. Two completely different things going on there. You're an old lady. There are younger women doing this. They are gonna make most of the money, not you. They're not gonna get as burnt out because they're gonna make so much money and have so much business that they can hire outsiders to basically chat for them. So they get a lot of free time, whereas you can't make a career out of it right now because you're kind of old. And it sounds like you have some kind of standards, like, I shouldn't be burnt out from this. Young girls don't really care. They'll just do whatever they want to do and make money from it. It becomes a part of the identity. So this is already starting off on the wrong foot because she doesn't understand a lot about how these things work. You don't deserve money just because you're a woman. How does that work? And again, this is why I absolutely hate makeup, because this lady who is an average looking lady, I'm an average looking guy. This lady who is an average looking lady is demanding a bunch of money from men who don't think she is that attractive at the end of the day, but they'll buy her pictures. They're fiends out there. They're low lifers out there. Let me get a picture of your feet so I can master my bait to it. That's a low life. Ugh.
On the flip side of things, at one point I was doing video calls with a man where I didn't even have to I had a turtleneck sweater on and I was getting paid $400 every week just to have an hour-long conversation with a man whose net worth was $67 million. I mean, at least that's what he told me, but regardless, he was sending me $400 just to talk to him. That was pretty awesome. We call those guys whales, and they are rare. Mr. Whale was no different than the other men. He was constantly cheating. He would tell me the ways in which he was cheating on his partner and everything, and then just expect me to laugh about it. And I was like, haha.
Yeah, that's called a black market therapist, where he has no accountability to you. If he were to go to a therapist, they would kind of hold him accountable to it. But you're just there for the money. You just want his money and you're out. Other men know that. That's why you're worth $2 a picture. I actually don't know, but that's why they don't pay you what you deserve, because you actually don't deserve it. A therapist goes to school and earns something that they could use to bring value to other people. You just said, look at my lady parts and give me money. That's worth nothing. That's worth nothing.
And I would just,
let alone a picture. Some of these guys can go on the street at night and find a prostitute who they can have physical interactions with, and they probably won't pay them. Well, they'll probably pay them a little bit more than they're paying you because they're getting something out of it. Although disgusting, they're still getting something out of it compared to you sending me a picture. I deserve $10 for this picture. No, lady. No, you don't. You're getting $2.99. Like, this is an actual thing? Oh my gosh.
Just smile because, sir, I need you to pay me. Next thing you need to know is that most of the husbands, the married men, would show up in my DMs with all their marital drama, and they would tell me how much they do love their wife because she's a good mom and because she's she does all the things around the house and everything. Like, she's so amazing. But unfortunately, they just needed a slut in bed. She was never going to be what he needed in bed. And here's the kicker: because she wasn't measuring up to what he wanted in bed, he considered that her failure and his right to go out and cheat.
Was he cheating? Because this is OnlyFans that we're talking about. He's just getting pictures from you. It is cheating, but the way she was talking, she made it sound like they're physically cheating on their wife. If he wants a slut in bed, maybe he can get that from a free porn website. Like, I don't know why she's talking as though she is the only source of sluttiness that they can get. They can go to porn websites. Like, I don't understand. I actually don't get it. So she's not even getting faithful men, right? She's getting men who are essentially whores. She's getting men who are whoring themselves out with money. Like, they're not actually showing their parts. I'm sure they would, but they're like, I want to see your part for money. They're incentivizing you. So these are, I personally think men who do this, who are married or who have families, those are the lowest forms of men, because they will pay for debauchery and sinfulness and sick things to go on in society and then appear in front of you like everything is normal. Like, yeah, women and whores and prostitutes, man, they're horrible. But bro, behind closed doors, you're paying for this stuff. You're actually the lowest form of men. What is the difference between you and someone who pays for someone else to go to war? There's no difference. They're all fulfilling their desires. One wants power and you want pleasure. There's no difference. You are scum, personal opinion.
I cannot tell you how prevalent that mindset is. I'm sorry if you have one of those men. That is essentially what we call the Madonna whore complex playing out. There are very many men, I would wager most men, who have no ability to understand the nuances of womanhood, okay? They cannot understand women as full and complete humans. They understand them as, that is wife material, that's marriage material. She's a sweet girl who will do all the things I need her to do. She'll make me look good to everybody else. And then that one over there, she's a whore. She's only good for bed.
Hold on. This is what happens when people actually don't think, like, use your brain. You know how there's this not even a narrative. There's this thing out there where women will say, yeah, men are providers, protectors, they're the priests, you know, they take care of the house, they take care of me, they take care of my kids, you know, do all of this stuff. Like, that's a man's duty to take care of me, of his family, and protect us and make sure nothing happens to us and provide for us. Okay, great. Granted. What is a woman's duty? Yeah, exactly. They never have anything to say back to it. A woman has no duties toward man, but man has an infinite list of duties toward women. And so when you yap your mouth and you say that there are some men who don't understand the nuance of women, no, we actually do. We actually do. That's why they can give you money and tell you to shut up and give me some pictures. And you're like, oh, thank you. All I want is your money. So yeah, nuance. Yeah, coming from the prostitute. That actually makes there's no nuance in being a prostitute. You're literally saying, look at my body and give me money. It's immoral because, and not that it's your fault, but essentially you're attracting men who are destroying their family built relationships. If prostitution was completely outlawed in the land, what would these men do? They would figure it the heck out. But you guys, prostitutes, are their way out. It's like telling people, don't smoke cigarettes. It's going to kill you. And then sell cigarettes in every store. What are we doing here, right? You men are trash, you men are scum, but we're going to give you a way to be trash and scum and make sure that you have a way to, you know, escape from working on your relationship properly. But you're the scum still. There is no nuance here. Men and women both have nuances. And to put yourself on a pedestal and say men don't understand the nuance of women, or wife, oh, what's the difference? Bruh, we understand. That's why he's able to keep his wife and come to you, because he understands the nuances between both. You just contradicted yourself. This is actually crazy. Like, dare I say she's a misandrist? She is a misandrist. How do you say men don't understand the nuance? And then at the same time, you're explaining the nuance. The nuance being he has a wife, he knows you're the whore, so he understands how to go between both worlds. That takes a lot of nuance. I'm not willing to stoop down low to be able to mess with that type of nuance. I'm not interested. It's unnecessary. Men have nuance. Women have nuance. Let's keep it at that. But because she's a prostitute and she comes across so many horrible, low tier men. This is her narrative, that men don't have nuance. What about all the other guys in the world that have that understand the nuance between both? That understand the nuance between the lover, being the friend, being the leader, being the playful buddy, not buddy, crazy, being the playful person to his wife. Like, there is so many nuance with being with a woman, and you just completely crapped on the idea that the few men who would participate in this low lifery essentially you're projecting them to the rest of men. That's crazy work, lady. That's crazy work.
There is no in between to these men. Most of these men have a complete inability to grasp that actually women are full and complete humans who can entertain the entire spectrum of womanhood. And they mostly just get offended if you try to explain that to them. Their entitlement does not allow them to make room for that nuance. And by the way, these are the men that you would consider good men. These are the ones that parade around the world and everybody's like, that's a good guy. Now, all that being said,
No,
there
there's
were
some.
some genuinely good guys. Like, there are some genuinely
You
good
wouldn't
men
know.
out there who
You
do
wouldn't know.
use SW or who are subscribers to various different OF accounts. Something you need to know is that like a solid 50% of these men are interested in your feet. And I'm willing to wager a solid 30 to 50% are interested in children. And yes, that's terrifying, but I can't tell you how much work I got because I looked younger than I was. How many of these men
Boom.
want you to call them daddy and beyond? I did flat out refuse many, many things they wanted me to do. And the next slightly horrifying thing about the industry is just how many men consume so much pornography that they no longer know how to think straight when it comes to women at all. They get desensitized. So
let alone not even consuming pornography, women always play games. Women are these super social creatures who like to manipulate the social aspect of things, and they like to play games. They like to play games. Have you seen those posts where women are like, why does no one approach me? I don't know. I guess we're not hiding in your house, in your toilet, waiting for you. Like, you go to work, come home, go to the grocery store, get gas, and go home. What do you mean, why are no men approaching? How about all the men who tried saying hi to you in the grocery store? Like, hey, how was your day? Oh, fine. Just walks off like nothing has happened. The only way men approach you is when you recognize that men are actually trying to approach you. When they smile at you, when they say hi, start a conversation. We're not orbiting you to try to approach you. We're not gonna. Men are human, right? If they smile at you and say something to you, start a conversation.
Longer know how to think straight when it comes to women at all. They like
and so they don't know how to think straight because women already play games. Women already play games. I'm married. Women play games. Like, it's just their nature. Like, they flip-flop a lot, right? They're emotional sometimes. Sometimes they're not as emotional. Sometimes they're like, oh, I'm super logical. It's like, you have to be able to go with the ebbs and flow of it. So like don't put this on men like men are out here doing something bad. This is a dance between men and women. And the way that she talks, it'll make you think that men are a problem, whereas you are literally helping them engage in the problem. I guess it's kind of crazy. The lack of accountability is superb.
They get desensitized so easily that they have to be constantly upping the ante here. And eventually that leads to like full-blown gore and horror things.
So
next kind of hilarious thing that you need to know about the industry is that so many of these men want to be spanked. So many of these men, they don't even realize they want this, but they are looking for a woman who can whoosh. And if you can hone in on those whoosh skills, girl, you will make some money, I promise. And probably the final point I will make, you can feel free to ask me questions if you want. But the final point that I will make is that the social impact of being on OF is extreme. For me, it was just a very isolating thing. Like, I ended up being sort of in an echo chamber of SWs where certain conversations are completely just normalized. But then when you go out into the real world and you realize, oh, you can't really have those conversations. And then you're constantly met with like, the most annoying thing for me was women who are like, well, it's okay for you, but I could never do that, bitch. Stop wrapping your insults in bubble wrap and acting like it's not going to hit me just as hard. Every time people say shit like that, it just becomes so painfully obvious how many people have zero clue what the industry is all about. Zero, they've never met an SW, they've never talked to an SW. They would never talk to one because they are so comfortable in their beliefs about that type of industry that they don't want anything to challenge it. And I will say one of the last frustrating parts for me is having been part of an extremely marginalized community, maybe potentially the most marginalized community, if you want to get right down to it, and having absolutely no recognition in society for that. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're filling out a form, it asks you to check the box of like which like community you belong to, but there's never anything for vulnerable women, for SWs. Like, there's never anything there for
Vulnerable women? I thought people were fighting for sex workers to be a legal thing. How are you vulnerable? What, you think if the law makes it legal for prostitutes to prostitute, that would make you less vulnerable? Huh. Maybe sex workers have some level of mental illness, to be honest with you, because that makes no sense. The reason why it's vulnerable is because most people find it disgusting. Most people don't like it. It's off-putting to most people. Yes, there are some who will indulge. Yes, there are some who will become the content for which other people indulge. But on the surface, everyone finds it to be repulsive. That's why sex workers don't get married, because people use you for what you are, a commodity. That's the tough part of this. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the men that participate are just as bad, if not worse than you, because they're creating space for this industry to exist. That's the problem. They're creating space for the industry to exist. And when you create a space for something, someone is going to fill that space. Like, I saw a video of a lady talking about the things people do to get a legal dose of meth. People do some disgusting things to get a legal dose of meth. They exist. And you'd be like, why the heck would you give space for people to get, oh, well, because they do it illegally if you don't anyway, but they're still doing crazy stuff to get it. So just because people will pay for it doesn't mean that it should be something that exists, which is you, sex work. And then you're calling yourself vulnerable. I think that's the end of that. I want to make a bunch of money and you should accept me into society because I'm a part of it. And women talk as though they would never talk or be, yeah, probably because they don't want to talk to you. What on earth would you ever educate them about? How you couldn't make money any other way, so you have to start selling your body parts, and now you make a bunch of money and you get on phone calls and you don't even really care about the people. You're just there to make your money. From the whale example that you gave, give me a $400 a week. I'm just gonna sit here for an hour and just wait for my money. Immoral. You actually don't care about people, but you want people to care about you. Yeah, okay. Hey, subscribe, like the video. The echo chamber that she is in, yeah, she needs to get out of it. Like the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.